Look, I don't want to beat a dead horse, and besides, I couldn't find a dead horse if I wanted to. They're all in RFK Jr.'s car. But I simply must remind you to check in on your local Planned Parenthood. I know, and you know, Planned Parenthood is synonymous with abortion in this country, but they do so much more to serve over 2 million patients a year. They perform STI testing, cancer screenings, administer birth control, they do wellness exams, and yes, they even perform vasectomies because, yeah, in case you forgot, while you're making abortion a women's issue, men are a vital part of unplanned pregnancies too. Which is why I have some serious choice words for Republicans like President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Vance, who are committed to defunding Planned Parenthood as soon as they take office. Providing health care to millions of people is expensive. The majority of Planned Parenthood's patients are at or below the poverty line, but no one is ever turned away if they need care. Abortion is an important part of what they do, but it is not the entire organization. Planned Parenthood is lucky to get donations from caring citizens every day, but it needs government funding to continue its services as well. Its finances are precarious, even under the best administration. So just imagine what it's going to look like over the next 4 years. So this holiday season, if you're looking for ways to get involved or to spread some generosity around, reach out to your local Planned Parenthood if you are lucky enough to still have one. This is Choice Words. I'm Samantha Bee. My guest today is Kathryn Hahn, who I am such a huge fan of. You know Kathryn from Step Brothers, Wanderlust, Transparent, WandaVision, and her new show, Agatha, all along. We need so many breaths of fresh air these days, and this was surely one of them. I laughed so hard, my cheeks hurt. So take a listen and make good choices. This conversation could not be better timed. Oh,
I know.
My goodness. First of all, how are you?
I am very well.
The world can go
How
mad.
Are you? The world can go mad. Wait, do you know where I first met you in person was? I'll never forget it because I was so starstruck. It was at an awards show.
Yes.
And we were seated like next to each other, like maybe my husband. I know. And I was so excited.
I was so excited to meet you. I was trying to remember which award show it was.
I think it was. Listen to me. I'm like, I think it was, but I haven't been to that many. That's why I'm like, I know exactly.
So many award shows. Can't remember the name.
It was Emmys.
Maybe it was like the untelevised ones, but we were still highly dressed
up. Always untelevised.
You gotta you still gotta bring the heat, even if they're not putting it on television.
Right. And I always bring flats in my husband's jacket just because I can't deal with the heels all night.
Can I ask you a question?
He's a good man. Yeah.
He's a good man. You know what is so funny? I'm so happy that you mentioned that because I do that too. And it was just for for shits and giggles when you're online shopping and you don't buy anything and you're like, put stuff in your cart. I put a pair of flats in my cart. And I was like, you're not going to the Emmys. I don't need these.
Like cute little flats, like ballet flats?
Like little ballet flats, like squishy ones that would fit in a clutch, like a huge clutch. You could get them in
That's kind of a great idea to have anytime you have to dress up.
It's true.
Which I guess I don't have to. I mean, so I literally would either have hotel slippers in the same way. Or there's been a couple times where I've put full on Birkenstocks, which is like a real bummer for him because then he has to deal with the high-heeled shoes for the rest of the night.
That's very true. But I was very happy when during the advent of the giant clutch that was comically oversized. I was like, this is what we're talking about. This is
are they called
clutch,
like a burst bag or something? But it was like a large clutch that I
loved, like a joke. It's like a joke about clutches.
It's like a joke. Right. It's like you might as well be carrying around a standard size pillow in calves leather.
100%. I'm like,
Yeah.
all the male designers thought that this was like a real like campy statement about clutches, but we're like, fucking bring it on because I have
Me
to put
too.
shoes in this.
I'm like, we might as well just call a spade and make it a backpack.
Can we?
But
Oh, God. Oh, God. You're speaking my language.
sometimes those huge clutches come with a strap, so you
They
can
do.
wear it as a
Convertible.
messenger bag. Yeah, I like that.
Convertible. I'm not a fan of tiny purses. Think I'm like, what? For what?
Oh, me
For
too. That
why?
you can't fit a phone in. I have definitely warned them. Like so
Oh,
when someone else is like, "This is it," and I'm like, "Yes, it is."
it hangs off my hand, and it's not as big as my hand.
I
Is
still
it?
have to carry my phone in the other hand, and they're getting confused for one another.
Okay, I think you're incredible.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
you're incredible. So I'm
Oh
like
gosh.
so goddamn tickled to be talking to you, and I need it. I need it. I need to talk to you like I need oxygen in my lungs.
Mm,
And so perfectly timed to talk about choice because you're talking about choices out in the world. Oh,
yes.
Jesus. All right. Okay. We talk about choices here. We start the
Yes.
conversation by talking about like, what are you, God, are you good at making them? Are you an excellent decision
No.
maker?
I
No.
am, in certain like if it's about looking at a closet, I am
Yeah.
very fast with being like, yes, no, donate. Like
Yes.
I have no sentimentality when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Great.
Stuff I'm very easy with letting go of. Any like
Okay.
kids' drawings aside, I'm
Uh-huh.
very okay with letting go of it.
Banish
Um,
it.
I love just being able to like, and it never
Yes.
happens like for family, but like that vibe is like my favorite, like clean
Yeah.
counters,
Mm.
organized drawers. But when it comes to making kind of life decisions or even like a decision
Yeah.
at a restaurant,
Mm.
it like takes me a second. I don't need to
Okay.
pull the room for for the restaurant, and usually not even for like a huge life decision, but because sometimes it makes it more confusing. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not that great at those kind
How
of
do you
decisions.
do it? How do you get there?
Oh, just so much hand wringing. Everyone gets sick of being around me. They're
Mm-hmm.
listening to me flip flop. It's pros and cons. Sometimes I think I
Yep.
should just sleep on it. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I say the thing, I say an answer, and then I immediately, it depending on how I feel afterwards, immediately take it back. So sometimes I
Right.
need to like try it out. I'm getting better, just the older I get. But
I feel like I relate to that, like trying on a decision, like saying it out
yes,
loud to myself and others and just going like, yeah, I'm going to do that thing. That sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to
yes,
do that. And then I feel queasy
yes,
for hours. And I go,
yes,
I don't think that at a cellular level, every cell knows it's not
yes.
happening.
But then there's always the part of me that's but. Like what would have happened?
Right.
What is, my mom would always say, if you're in doubt, don't,
Mm,
which I try to hold true to, but sometimes I don't trust myself.
right. Sometimes you're like, but there's other factors
Yes.
that like maybe we should do things that feel hard
Hmm.
or will be profitable in some way or like will
Yes.
enhance other aspects of life. So that kind of like overrides. But then do
Yeah.
you have like a little system that you put that stuff through in your
Well, yeah.
brain?
I mean, I think I do have to, if it's not an immediate yes,
Mm-hmm.
then that is a sign that I want
Right.
to investigate. Or an immediate no. So
Right.
that's where you want to investigate and try on
Mm-hmm.
and those lists are really helpful. The like if one outweighs the other, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but then some of it is just intuition, and like you
Right.
never know if it was the right one. Sometimes you just have to. And I do, like I was saying, I feel like the older my kids are and the older I'm getting,
Yeah.
the easier it is to make a faster decision because I just don't want to like I mean in my 20s and 30s I would luxuriate
Right.
in that. And now
Right.
there's just not enough. It doesn't feel like that is time that I want to spend doing that.
I think that's in a way a gift a little bit. Like obviously time go so explosively fast the older you get, which I totally hate, which
I
is
know, it's November.
horrible. It's November.
I know.
Like, what?
Mm-mm.
But it does give you the opportunity to cut away things that aren't worth your time. They're like, life's too short. Life's too short to worry about it. Decisions.
Yes. Decisions,
that's cleansing. When you think of a big choice that you made that was like maybe a big swing, or maybe even just like something little that you wouldn't have even thought of that really impacted you, is there one that you think of?
Well, when I was graduating from grad school, which I went to for theater, which I thought it was for theater. I had gotten a basically a bus, like a road and truck job for this play, Proof. And it was Mary Louise Parker, which I loved. She originated the part. It was also one of those plays that was like just killed me. And so it was like to play her part for the first like regional tour of this show. And that was also at the same time that I had gotten like a job that would take me out to Los Angeles, at a time in my life that I really needed. I was swimming in debt from undergrad and graduate school. My then boyfriend, now hubby, and I were like not in a really, we were still like, who are we?
Yeah.
And, the money for this tour would not have been anywhere near, it was any kind of money. So at that point, it was just like, I was so thrilled to be asked to work at any capacity, but it was definitely not like chipping away at Sally Mae kind of money.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time in my life that I had to really have the luxury of being able to have that be the question. Right. Like I'd never had that before in my life. So, and it was very difficult because I felt like the stakes felt so huge. It was like, is my life going to go this way or that way? Is it going to be like that LA track, which I'd never even been to? Like I didn't think that those would be my people out here. Like I was so embedded on the East Coast. I'm from the Midwest. Or would it be theater, which is like where I had felt the most myself was in that space. And, it was like a medical procedural show that who knew like how it would like have turned out. And it was a really fun part. And I loved the people involved. But again, like, do I want to just like up and move? It felt like the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, just like this way or that way. Like it just felt 100%. So monumental to me.
How did you decide? How did you do it?
Well, there was a bunch. First of all, I think that the student loans were a huge factor.
Huge. That's a big burden.
It's a big, big burden. Like I remember my last year of grad school, my friend and I would get a piece of pizza and be like, like in 5 years, this $3.99 piece of pizza will have cost us $17 because of how much debt we had taken out just to even live there.
Yeah.
So that was huge. And then I think also my private life, like my life with I think if I'd gone on tour for like a year,
right,
it was a difficult thing than thinking of this show that at the time was only like 5 episodes. I still had this feeling like it was only temporary. Like I had my storage unit in Brooklyn for years after we were living here. When we finally had it like U-hauled out, it was like, that's what we deemed store worthy. It was like bags of tights for like New York winters.
You're like, all of my character wigs and my Joan Armatrading albums.
Yeah.
Did I need
character wig and character shoes?
Character shoes.
I love a character shoe still.
Oh, I have one bin. I kept one bin from those years. Just because you've got to keep one, if you have the room for it, you got to have one Rubbermaid bin that is your whole 20s.
It's your like bus and truck show. Like that's what you take with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. You have no idea that. And then when I moved to LA for this job, I was staying at, do you remember, or have you ever heard of the Oakwood Apartments?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I stayed there. I think there's an amazing documentary about it, but I stayed there. So it just felt like me and a lot of stage moms and their offspring and recently divorced men. And the weirdest vibe. And like I would go to their convenience store and buy like pre-packed hard-boiled eggs that had already been shucked. You know what I mean? Like kind of in water. But you're like, what?
You could like taste someone's hands.
Yeah.
Because they shelled it and then sealed it.
Like, and then had to put it in like egg water.
Yeah.
And I was like, open it up and dry it off. And it was like, oh God, I think about that. Oh my God. Yeah. So I was there and I had like a purple Suzuki Sidekick. And my whole life in LA was that stretch of Ventura between, all the way up to this place called To Die Sushi Buffet. So that was my life.
Did your boyfriend, the later husband, did he come with you or did you venture?
He stayed back here because we thought it was very temporary. But then when it became kind of not even kind of, when it became a serious regular job, he moved out.
Yeah.
But that was like we were long distance for like a half a year. Even for him to move out here, like both of us this was not what I had in the plan of my life. Mm-hmm. I love at that age, like there was nothing like being like wandering around New York City. Like I loved my place in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. I loved the walking to auditions and my friends. This just felt so spread out and lonely and just a lot of generals.
Yep. That's a huge leap of faith.
Yeah.
It's a huge leap of faith or non-faith because he stayed behind and you were like, well, keep that my side of the bed warm. Yeah. I'm coming back.
Let's keep that place. Let's keep that unit in Brooklyn going for no reason. Keep the lights on my bag of tights.
That's right. When you finally paid off your student loan, were you like, God damn, what a joy.
I remember, it was very long after that, but I remember when calling Sally Mae, because I used to call, this is a while ago, I used to have to call every month to make sure that the check was or how much I could put in that month. And so when I called and they said, congratulations, like it was like, I think I basically burst into tears. It was like, she was so proud of me. I felt like it was such a sweet phone call that I never thought I would be able to hear. Like I just kept going to school because I just kept wanting to act. And that was like the way I could do it, was just pay so much money. Yeah.
To pay them to give you parts.
Yeah. Yeah. And the parts were, for me in my 20s was like Grandma and Grapes of Wrath.
You don't mind wearing an age wig, do you?
Let me get out my Rubbermaid box and I'll see what I have in here.
I've already got the outfit. Hello,
I've got
children. I've got the house dress in my tickle trunk.
A bra with just bird seed in the boobs so that they just look.
Oh my God.
Those were the days.
That is so funny. Oh my God. Okay. I was listening to you on NPR recently. Very recently. And you said that you feel like it's at this stage of life and this point in your career that you feel like you have more control over your choices. Is that, yes, right?
It's weird because that's what the planet, like every society, the planet, like that's what I grew up believing was not to be the truth. That like my, that you would kind of max out and all of a sudden there'd be this switch and you would just be playing moms and grandmas and this has been weirdly the most fertile, no pun intended, time of my of this since I was doing theater, like since I was getting no money for it. Yeah, I know. So it's kind of, I think I just happened to meet a couple of rad women, writers, directors who just wanted to see people our age like living their complex, messy lives. Mm-hmm.
I love messy. And it was so fun, like being a outside observer to your life and career, but like watching can I say this? Can I give a compliment and you won't be like, ew, I can't stand it. I'm gonna do it.
I don't know.
It's coming. I I feel like you're one of those just pretty rare birds, actually.
Oh,
where
gosh.
like every time I see you in something, I'm like, you do the most. Like everything you're in, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes as you're like building your career, like some parts are small, some parts are big. It doesn't really, that's not the point. The point is you're always like so juicy in everything that you do.
Oh, God.
Like,
yeah.
Like for real.
Oh, God.
And so is it creepy? Did I just say that?
It's sweet.
A creepy thing?
That means a ton. It makes me laugh because I remember like early on, I was like, yes, I definitely was doing the most. It was some big swings early on.
Yeah, but like in an awesome way. In a way that me as an audience member was like, I love you. Like I just recently watched my son is 16. And I was like, you have to watch Wanderlust. We're going to watch it. We're going to sit down and watch it. And he was like, what is this? And I'm like, you're going to love it. You're going to fucking love it. And he was like, yes. I love it.
Yeah. That is such a fun freaking movie. I love every single one of those humans.
Oh, do you want to talk about Agatha all along? Okay. Because this is like, I loved WandaVision. Was that the first TV show in the MCU? Was that the first one?
Oh, I don't know. There was like, I think there were other ones. Like this was the first one under the Disney Plus banner, like Marvel at Disney Plus. So this, and we weren't supposed to be first. It was supposed to be, I think, Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is much more like tradish. So we were supposed to come like second as this kind of, weird stepsistery kind of experiment. And I think weirdly being first out of the gate worked in our favor because it was so left field of what had been going on over there. And I not knowing that much about Marvel myself at all before joining it was just so thrilled by just the storytelling. So I was able to kind of go in without the like burden of all this history, whatever knowledge and canon.
You didn't have to know the whole canon when you went into it.
Didn't have to know the whole canon. I found it out. I did, of course, they give you so much research, and that was fun to just look at this character, this old witch, through that. But
so the transition, so you're going from a supporting character to this is your show. You are the lead character in this show.
Straight to witch.
Straight to witch, a centuries-old witch.
Yes.
Claiming her power as she gets older. God damn it. Is there anything more relatable? Is there anything more desirable?
No. I know. Yeah. We just kept thinking and being chased by death the whole time. And pursued. The whole thing. Flirting with it and not of course the most complicated, tortured, twisted relationship is with death.
Right.
And especially the older, this witch gets, and all of us witches, the big picture alone, when Jack Schaefer, who also wrote WandaVision, when she pitched this to me, I was like, oh, I was so excited. And you don't really get involved with something for the metaphorical aspect of it. I was just so excited by where we would find this character left off after the events of WandaVision. So then as I read it and all these of course genius themes started popping out. And then when I watched it and I saw even more of it, I just made me worship Jack Schaefer even more.
I love to see witches have a moment. I love to see a witch moment.
I love a witch moment, especially because we have also heard witch hunt for so long that it's kind of and doesn't really belong in the mouths of who's saying it. So it was really fun to be able to give the real witches our props.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I've heard you reference the word menopause when you talk about the new show because she's finding her power at the end of her road. Very sexy. All the network executives, I'm sure, were like, say that word more.
They were like,
often.
Incest. Can you just keep saying menopause?
We want to attract a lot of teenage boys. So can you say menopause? But explain it also.
I listened to the interview. Great. My thought would be just if you could sprinkle the word menopause and hormones in there just a little more freely, that would be preferable and more on brand.
I just did a show called How to Survive Menopause. So I'm gonna write a book. It was like I just did like a little stage show. It'll be an Audible thing that you can download and stuff in March. But I was like, I'm doing
so much more of this.
We need so much more of it. And at some point I was talking about it. Like I love my son so much. He's incredible. He's here. I love him. He's a tender, wonderful boy. And he loves birds and cats. He's great.
Oh.
And even I was on my way to the theater and I was like, I'm busy tonight because I'm doing my show. He was like, what show? I'm like, the one I've been talking about for 2 fucking months. It's called How to Survive Menopause. And he was like, can you just stop saying the word menopause? Like, no, I can't.
No, I can't. Right.
Actually.
Otherwise, you're going to just think your mother has lost it. And it's good to give it some context.
I'm like, this education is actually going to serve you in life.
Yes.
You just don't know it now.
Yes.
When are we getting our first really funny menopause TV show? We're going to reboot The Golden Girls, but like
honestly, it has to be. Yeah, right. But menopause. I know you're absolutely, it's bananas because we all, half the population all goes through it. Even the dudes, apparently.
Yes.
Their own version. And even all the doctors that I've seen out here, like it's still such a uncharted territory. It's such a moving target too. Even how long it lasts. It's just like the whole idea of perimenopause. I mean, you could attribute so many other symptoms to it that you're not.
Yeah.
It could be that. It could be something else. So it does feel like such uncharted territory. The bottom
when it
of the
starts,
ocean.
When it ends, the bottom of the ocean. Go down to the bottom. Can you get to the bottom of the Marianas Trench and then come back? And then it's fine, maybe,
or maybe then maybe it's fine, or maybe your lungs explode on the way back up. I don't know.
I'm amazed by how much no one teaches you about it, and even if you're reading about it, they're just like, you may experience hot flashes. I'm like, yeah, but what is that?
What is that?
What does it feel like?
Why do we do that? Right.
What do you mean?
What can we do? I remember getting like a wild yam cream and being like, okay, you're supposed to like put it on the inside of your legs and
wild yams.
But like there's all wild yams. But like I would have tried for that hot minute, no pun intended, I would have tried anything. But but I remember like when my mom, like nobody talked about it.
No.
Of course. And I just remember like, she was like wrapping, she would not mind me saying this, like wrapping Christmas presents, smoking and crying. Like I wandered downstairs and I saw it and I was like, ooh, something's going on in the basement with mom. But like, it was all menopause. Like, that was just what it was. She just, and that was back when they were giving women, the pills were of pregnant horse piss.
Horse piss. Yeah. Or like from a nun, like from a virgin nun in Italy, like her urine, like crazy. I remember going to, because we lived in New York and we had our first child in like 2006. And my stepmom would come and babysit.
Same with me.
Oh God,
I know.
Where does it go?
I don't understand.
And somebody told us literally that we were supposed to keep the apartment so hot because you can't ever put a blanket on a baby. They were like, you need to keep this apartment so hot or your baby is gonna die. It's gonna strangle itself in blankets. And we were like, holy shit. So we turned the heat up to 86.
Oh my God.
Stepmom she was like, I love this baby. Like after 2 days, she was like, I cannot come to your home. Like I cannot be in your home. And then she would walk around the streets and she literally wore sweatbands like Bjorn Borg, like a head tennis sweatband and wristlets. And water was coming off of her in sheets. And I was like, I don't think she's healthy. Like, what's going on with her? And she's just having like regular menopause.
Yeah. Just regular menopause. I know.
NBD. Yeah.
Did you have any of those? I never had any like during the day, all of a sudden I was covered in sweat. It was more like at night for me.
more like at night, I would leave. I stopped buying white sheets because there's a crime outline that's just yellow of like a human body in a twist. I'm like, somebody was killed here. Like, there's no point. I buy pink sheets. They're just like rose tone because it conceals
Yes, it really
the
does.
crime.
A dusty rose.
A dusty rose. Still an outline, probably, but you got to keep refreshing. It's just like, you got to keep pressing refresh. Buy cheaper sheets more often.
For sure. We actually bought separate comforters just because I was like, I would just like whip them off. We have like two side by side.
I think that's a technique. It's like the Swedish duvet. There's some name for it,
There's a name for it. Yeah. I can't remember what it is. It's like a duvet. I don't know what it is. But yeah, we each got one, and it's actually kind of made life a lot more relaxed.
That's smart.
What if I was like, we just bought one and we share it?
We share. We just share everything. My side is wet. Like a sopping wet duvet. Did you hear it? I did hear that women or people, this is not just women, humans, all people age in waves. So like you hit one wave in your late 40s, early 50s. And then like I thought I was dying. I was like, I'm going to die for sure, but I didn't. And then you hit it again in your early 60s. I was like, we got to get strong.
Oh,
I'm coming over.
Really
I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out in your she shed.
My she shed. You sure can.
She shed.
But it's also tougher to get muscle mass, I guess. Yeah. Because I used to be able to like, whoop. And it's a little tougher. But also it's something you're supposed to do. The older we get is strength train, which I kind of
Are you doing that?
Yeah, a little. Yeah, I do love exercise. Motivation has been weirdly less, but I do love like moving in some way, even if it's a hike with my pal.
That's good.
But you're in New York, you get to walk everywhere. Like we're just sedentary.
Walk. But then, but then the lower half is very exercised and fresh.
Yeah.
And the upper half just slowly turns to powder. And then the shoulders with the messenger bag, and then you're crooked.
Yes.
And you go see someone and they're like, you're crooked. And you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know. This is the way it is.
I remember growing up and one of my friend's moms, again, everybody smoked back then, but I remember she would be smoking like hunched over, and she had one of those, I think it's called a dowager's hump. Like it's like a pad of fat that happens on the top of your back. Yes. And it's like your neck ends, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and I just remember being like, wow, how does that happen? Like, what is that?
Oh,
yeah.
God. Oh,
what is a dowager? I've completely forgot what a dowager is. Somebody to come collect.
It's certainly a pejorative for someone who probably never got married or something, or like their husband died. I don't actually know what a dowager is.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up. Are you creating projects for yourself now? Like, or do you, what other areas are you juicing it creatively? What do you have on the go?
I have been, Sam, such a acting, like one track mind. I love it so much. And I love each experience is so wildly different than the one before, and that you have to kind of adapt constantly to different processes, not only your directors, but your fellow actors, the crew, the like that really keeps my juices flowing. Nice. That sounds so bad.
No, it's good.
But it keeps me engaged. I definitely have had some directing and writing thoughts.
Yeah.
But I think because I would love actors so much that I think it would be I would love to be there in that capacity to just kind of doula, it into happening. Like I just think that would be really incredible. I just love actors. But I think
so true. It's like the workplace changes for you.
Yeah.
All the time. So it's like remaking. It's just like a whole new setup. I mean, sometimes it's the same players and sometimes there's familiarity, but
yes,
often it's just like a brand new set of circumstances, which is it's invigorating, right?
Well, it is. It's invigorating, but it's also like you really have to get used to that. It's great in terms of impermanence because even if it is the same group in another project, it's we'll never have that environment again. Like it will never be the same unless it's a series, blah blah blah. But even if that series is, whenever that project is over, it will, like, the alchemy would never, you could never match it. So there is, like, I remember at the beginning, even when I was like in whatever high school at the beginning, but I would cry at the wrap of any play, like the closing night. I just was like, this was my family. Like I will never have this like kind of feeling with another actor, another group. Like this was my whole life was in this, like this crew. And I still have it. Like I still do have like a little mourning period at the end of every one of them, because you do have to kind of throw yourself into this new group of people who all have the same investment. I mean, these hours, like, are not for the faint of heart. It's like a lot of time away from your family and so, I mean, I definitely fall all the time for these crews and cast and directors. And so it's always a little bit of a un petit mort, but not in that way. But it does feel like a little death.
Do you think that your family will follow you into this? And like, does your son want to do this? Yeah,
he never wants to be. Oh, I shouldn't say that. He has not expressed. No one has expressed an interest in being an actor. Okay. But my son really loves directing and cinematography. I mean, that's what he's into right now. My daughter is like, I have no idea what I want to do. And I'm like, you're a sophomore. You don't have to worry about it. But my son, who's a senior, is definitely, he's right now, that's like what he's excited about. But we always laugh because any project that he's had to do for school or for anything, he always casts my husband and he never casts me.
What?
He's never like, dude, I'm for hire. Like, I'm right here. I wouldn't have to go far. Like, yeah, I'm not going to ask for anything.
I'm very talented.
I'm doing your craft service. Like, this is a twofer. Like, I'm already doing it. Like, I'll bring my own But yeah, he really likes to separate the church and state, which I actually really, really appreciate.
They also I don't know if your kids see you for what you do. Do you think that they see you and see your work? No. Probably not. No.
Do you think your kids do?
They don't. They absolutely do not. They could not care less.
Yeah, my kids do.
Bring home the bacon. Like,
just don't say menopause.
Don't say it. I'm like, this butters your bread. Yeah. Like, this is this is my art. What are you talking about? And they're like, ugh.
Oh yeah, my kids too. Unless I'm in something with someone that they're freaking out about, then there are questions.
Okay.
But it's usually they could, same thing, they could care less. Although a lot of my body of work is now like Wanderlust, like a lot of those things like Step Brothers or any of those. I mean, I did a show called I Love Dick, which was really hard to like just kind of throw out casually. My husband was like, "Are you on Dick tomorrow?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, nah, whatever." And the kids, so the kids were. But, it was only for my son recently that, he said he'd walk into a party and they'd be playing Step Brothers and he would just turn around and walk out. He was like, no, thanks.
Yeah, they're like, no, I don't acknowledge this. They once played a clip of my television show in one of my daughter's classes, and she didn't tell anybody that was her mom. Like, it was just like random. It was just like a random class. I guess it was some subject matter that they were studying. They played like a 2-minute clip. And I was like, and did you tell your that must have been fun for you. And she was like, why? I'm like, you didn't tell anyone? She was like, why would I do that? I'm like, I don't know. It's just a fact. It's kind of interesting. No? She was like, not really. Not really.
I think that's really good and healthy. Sometimes you're like, I kind of do it for you. But
no, I think it is good. It is actually, it's the natural order. They're not supposed to find us impressive.
Oh, like for college tours or high school tours, you'd always be like, can you stand like over there? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it upsets the balance if your children are like impressed by a single thing that you do.
They cannot be. They can't. They have to make fun of it or just ignore it. Yeah.
have to
You
be
got a
like,
thick skin.
you gotta, yeah, you can't, they don't allow you to feel like you're important at all. And that is
No.
their
They
job.
just like, they'll just start laughing. Like if they're anywhere near me on a red carpet, like they just are laughing at me.
It's so hard. You're like, hold my backpack. And they're like, oh my God, what is that face you're
Like,
doing?
why don't,
What are you
what is
doing with
it
your
doing? Like,
hands?
Mom, come on. Like, oh God. Like you could just feel the judgment. And then every time I see a picture where they're like around it, I'm always like smiling, but like my hands are so weird.
There's really nothing more relaxing than somebody telling you you're doing something weird with your hands. And then you're just like, well, I guess I'm in my head now.
Or
Thank
too
you.
much with your hands. I get that a lot. It's like, okay, so
I get that
it's a lot as in you're doing a lot. Maybe like, let's try. And then I really don't know sometimes what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I'm like, there's not enough pockets. Can you tie them back? Tie them down.
Could you just duct tape them to the sides of my body?
Yeah. Oh my God, I knew it would be so fun talking to you.
Oh my God. I want to keep
so
going
much.
forever and ever and ever.
My face hurts.
Oh, thank you for having me. I could do this. I mean, again, have me on again, please, because this was so fun.
Oh my God, we're gonna do a 2-woman show about menopause, and we're gonna talk and it's 18 hours long. Enjoy, everyone. It costs $4,000 per ticket.
Passing the clap between the two of us.
That's right. Oh gosh.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was Kathryn Hahn, and I had no choice but to look up one thing. Neither of us could remember what a dowager is, but we knew that it was fancy, and it is. The official definition is a widow with a title or property derived from her late husband. Good for her. Thanks for joining us. I'm Samantha Bee, and see you next week for some more Choice Words. Thank you for listening to Choice Words, which was created by and is hosted by me. The show is produced by Svea Baron-Reinstein with editing and additional producing by Josh Richmond. We're distributed by Lemonada Media, and you can find me at RealSamB on X and Instagram. Follow Choice Words wherever you get your podcasts or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership.